Being 5:15, I'd like to call the December 12th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call has been taken.
Yes.
Need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion's been made by Jason, second by Mark, to adopt the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Looking for a motion for review of approval of September 26, 2024 Planning Commission minutes as read in your packet.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Motion's been made by Jason, seconded by Mark. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, Chad, you got number 4 for the conditional use grant request?
Yes, and you can actually start with the public hearing. We'll go ahead with that first.
As part of the evaluation process for the conditional grant request, the planning commission is required to provide an opportunity for public input regarding the petition for this request. So at this time, I'm opening a hearing for public comment on a petition to allow the multifamily housing development at 310 West Wolf River Avenue. Those interested in providing input, please come up to the microphone. Everyone will have 3 minutes to provide your input to the commission. Does anyone have any input they would like to provide on the conditional grant petition? Does anyone have input they would like to provide on this conditional grant petition? Does anyone have input they would like to provide on this conditional grant petition? Seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing.
Wonderful, and I will take it from there. So to keep me on task, I wrote some notes that I'll show up on the screen here. So like Chairman Bernie was saying, the city has received a petition to build a multi-use development at 310 West Wolf River Avenue. The proposal includes commercial retail component and then a multifamily residential housing as well. The parcels, and I have parcels in parentheses because as the commission knows, we went through a process to combine the two parcels that we're talking about into one. The county hasn't got that far yet, so it's still 2 parcels on the county's website, but it's being in process for combining the parcels into one. They are zoned B1 Central Business District. Excuse me. In the B1 district, commercial retail uses are allowed per right. However, the multifamily residential component is permitted by conditional grant. And I've put a screenshot here showing what the code number is for that, and just saying that showing that the use by conditional grant in the B1 district, multifamily residential. So the commission has to go through the process for allowing it by conditional grant. So the summary of the procedures we have to go through tonight. Number 1, the developer has submitted a petition for the conditional use request. That application is in your packet. So I don't know if anybody had time to look at that, but within your plan commission packet, that petition has been submitted and was included. We have the evaluation criteria. If you remember last time we've done a conditional grant, there's 4 things that we need to look at when following through with a conditional grant request. And I want to point out that state statutes have basically put the onus on the municipality. We have to make a strong case not to allow it. It's not that the petitioner needs to make the strong case. We have to make the strong case. So these 4 criteria that we have in here, we really have to show that it's a detriment to one of these, why you would not allow it. units. So those four criteria are that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use will not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. So in the back of your head, you're thinking, this is going to be a resident is going to be retail commercial component, which we have in the downtown business district already, and also multifamily housing, which is right next to housing residential units in that area. Have to look at that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use or enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor noticeably diminish and impair property values or aesthetics within the neighborhood. And if you remember that the developer has created a plan that's going to be complementing the new SC Soderski development, and then basically a step down scenario with 2 6-plex apartments, and I'll show the conceptual designs like later again, to kind of give you that step down feel into the more single family, 2-family residential neighborhoods. Have to look at that the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvements of the surrounding properties for uses permitted in the district, and that adequate utilities, access roads, street access does not impede public traffic flow, drainage, or other necessary facilities that have been or are being provided. So those are the 4 criteria that you have to think of back in your head as you're evaluating this request. We also have to do the public hearing, which we just did. And then we'll review some of the conceptual designs. So on your desk, I provided a printout of the most updated draft site plan that they are looking at. So again, they're looking at the retail, first floor retail, just for people on YouTube to kind of see, first floor retail, and then a 6-plex apartment complex above. And I'll just kind of go through these pictures real quick. And on the back side or the south side of the development, they're looking at proposing 2 6-plex apartment complex with no retail component with that building. So again, the site plan review right here, site plan, that site plan, the northern building here is going to be that retail and 3 stories of 6-plex apartment complexes. And then the southern building would be just the 6-plex apartment complexes. In the past, the Plan Commission has talked about some concerns about parking. So they did look at the parking, try to maximize the parking within the site itself. Also kind of indicated, the engineer indicated some of the street parking that would be available during normal business hours. I did review our ordinance, and in the ordinance, let's see, chapter 17. Off-street parking required in the ordinance. So right now, multifamily off-street parking residential uses, the ordinance requires 2 spaces per dwelling unit plus 1 guest space for every 4 units. So doing the math with that, this total with the 2 buildings are looking at 12 units. Multiply that by the 2 spaces per dwelling unit, that's a requirement of 24. Then if we look at the additional 1 guest per 4 units, 12 divided by 4, so we would need another 3 stalls for the guest units, which would bring us to 27. So looking back at the concept again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So right now they have 30. And again, the minimum requirement would be 27 right there. So they have surpassed the minimum requirement for parking in that area. I think that's all I have at this point. I did talk to or communicated with the developer today. Unfortunately, he could not make it, but he's been here in the past several times with the other processes that we had to go through with this. But does anybody have any questions at this point? If you remember, we had to look at zoning, we had to look at changing our comp plan. We looked at combining lots into one so that the garage spaces that they're proposing could be on the 0 lot line setback scenario. At this point, does the commission have any questions?
Starting in 25, I see that. Is that correct?
That's their intent. Yep. Per what he put in his petition packet. You see that. No, if there's no other questions, then I guess you guys can proceed with any type of action.
Make the motion to approve the conditional use grant request.
I will second that.
Okay. Motion's on the table to approve the conditional use grant. That was- Mark was first, Donna was second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion's carried. Okay, as far as reviewing upcoming agenda items, I won't know until Dave says so.
I do have a couple things right off the bat. We have been talking with Vanderwall and Associates about our zoning project that we're working on. We've been working on a huge hunk of what he's been calling part one, a good chunk of the language of the document. We might be ready to bring them to the next meeting in January for an update. So plan on potentially that happening. The other thing that I'm going to probably propose, as you guys probably know, we've been working with, and for the commission members who are not alderpersons, the Common Council will be looking at a recommendation from the Economic Development Committee to enter into a development agreement for a beer garden on this site right here that's just east of the new Swiderski development. It's zoned plan unit development right now, and my intent was that we would get through this zoning rewrite, and then my intent was to propose to make this just downtown commercial instead of the plan use development. It makes it a lot easier for the developer, a lot less hoops to jump through. And their proposal for the beer garden lines up with the downtown development zoning per right. It's pretty simple. But in talking with Vanderwall and Associates, we're probably not going to get through our full zoning thing. They didn't think at this point until probably summer. And technically they wouldn't be able to start construction really until it's zoned appropriately. So I might bring back to the plan unit or plan commission maybe after the first of the year to start a process just to get this zoned, change it to downtown B1, downtown commercial, just to make it easier for the developer. And then there's less hoops to jump through with this plan unit development scenario. So be on the lookout. I might be proposing for the plan commission to consider that process in the future. Things that we can do to make development easier, I think is a good thing. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Okay, next meeting, tentative meeting is January 3rd.
Correct.
2025. Does that work for everybody? Okay, next item on the agenda, I need a motion for adjournment.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Mark, seconded by Donna. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?